The night sky above Earth was no longer dark. For the last 3 days, strange lights had covered the heavens, huge shapes drifting among the stars, their metallic bodies shining like floating mountains. At first, people thought it was a dream or maybe a lie from the news. But soon, every telescope, every satellite, every eye on Earth could see the truth. The aliens had arrived. They came in hundreds of ships, large and small, glowing blue and silver. Their designs were smooth and perfect, not made by any human hand. The world watched in silence, hearts frozen between wonder and fear. When they first spoke, their voices filled every device, phones, screens, radios. It wasn't a greeting, it was laughter, cold, echoing laughter that carried across every nation. "Humans," the voice said, "you are smaller than we expected." Governments tried to speak to them, to welcome them, to show peace. The United Nations sent messages in every language, asking for calm and friendship. But the aliens only laughed harder. They said humanity was weak, a species that fought among itself, that poisoned its own planet, that built machines it could not control. To them, humans were children playing with sticks while holding fire in their hands. "You think you are strong," one alien broadcast said. "You have not even touched the edge of the universe. We have traveled through your solar system for centuries, and we found nothing worth fearing." The words spread like poison. Across the world, fear turned to anger. But anger could not fight starships. The alien fleet moved closer each day. They circled Earth like predators, studying, measuring, mocking. They sent probes into cities, scanning humans like insects. Every military force tried to respond. But every missile, every jet, every weapon failed before it even reached them. Their technology was far beyond anything human science could imagine. Energy shields, gravity drives, weapons that could cut through steel like paper. The alien fleet was untouchable, and they wanted everyone to know it. On the 3rd day, the aliens made their first demonstration. They fired a single beam from orbit, a thin, golden line that cut through the clouds and struck the Pacific Ocean. In 1 second, the water boiled, steam rising like a wall into the sky. The blast created a wave hundreds of meters high, but the aliens called it a small warning. People screamed, prayed, and cursed the skies. Yet the aliens only laughed again. They called it entertainment. In a control room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, the leaders of Earth gathered. Screens flickered with maps and signals, but there was nothing they could do. "Every defense network is useless," one general whispered. "They can destroy us anytime they want." Another voice replied, quiet but firm, "Then why haven't they?" The room fell silent. It was a question no one could answer. Outside, alien drones hovered over cities, recording human faces, scanning weapons, and sending every image back to their fleet. They seemed to enjoy watching humans panic. The aliens were not conquerors. They were spectators, watching a smaller race squirm beneath their power. Meanwhile, in the outer edge of the solar system, far beyond Pluto's orbit, something began to stir, a signal, faint and rhythmic, pulsed through the darkness. It was old, very old, but steady, repeating again and again. A forgotten beacon buried in an asteroid field had come to life. Inside that asteroid, hidden for almost a century, rested a ship, a massive shape made of dark metal and golden lines. Dust and ice covered its hull, but deep inside, faint lights began to flicker. A voice, low and mechanical, whispered inside the silence. "Wake protocol initiated. System check complete. Human presence absent. Mission pending." The voice paused as it received new data from Earth. The alien transmissions, the laughter, the mocking words. Then the ship's core pulsed brighter. "Humanity threatened. Activation required." For the first time in 100 years, its engines started to hum. The asteroid around it cracked, breaking apart. As the enormous ship powered up, the computer voice spoke one final time, calm but strong. Designation the Resolute. Orders defend humanity. Status online. Back on Earth, no one knew what was coming. People hid in basements, prayed to the skies, or simply watched the alien ships hover above the clouds. The alien commander sent one last broadcast that day. His tone was cruel, proud, and amused. Humanity, surrender your weapons. You cannot fight. You cannot win. Accept your place. Below us, the signal echoed through every nation. The laughter that followed was sharp and endless, but somewhere in the vast emptiness of space, a different sound answered. The deep roar of awakening engines. Like thunder rolling through eternity, the aliens thought humanity was finished. They thought they were safe, but in the dark, a human warship had begun to move. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter was silent, cold, dark, and endless. But tonight something was alive there. Something old, something human. Hidden beneath layers of rock and frozen dust, a colossal ship broke free from its long sleep. Engines that had been silent for nearly 100 years began to glow with deep golden light. The asteroid cracked apart, sending pieces spinning into space as the dark hull of the ship emerged like a rising beast. Its name, etched across its side in fading letters. Read the Resolute. It was humanity's last great warship, a relic from a time before peace, before fear, before surrender. Built in secret, designed by the brightest minds of a desperate Earth, it was meant to protect humanity from extinction. But before it could ever fly into battle, peace treaties had buried it. The world had moved on, forgotten the danger it was built for. Now, a century later, it was awake again. Inside the ship, lights flickered through empty corridors. Dust floated in the air like stars in miniature. A single voice echoed through the metallic halls, calm, powerful, and unmistakably human in tone. System integrity 83%. Weapons offline. Crew status absent. Mission protocols awaiting activation. The AI core, known only as Eve 9, processed the incoming signals from Earth. Each message played back. Alien laughter, alien threats, alien pride. For several seconds, there was silence. Then the AI spoke again. Threat level extreme. Directive, defend humanity. Authorization accepted. Across the ship's systems came alive. Power conduits hummed. Engines began to breathe. The golden light that ran along the hull brightened until it glowed like a rising sun in the void. Far away, on an alien flagship orbiting Earth, the enemy commander studied human transmissions with amusement. He saw chaos, fear, leaders arguing and people crying. He felt proud, certain that his fleet's dominance was complete. They cannot even unite, he told his officers. Their weakness is their nature. They are entertaining, but as he spoke, a new blip appeared on their radar screens. Tiny at first. Far from Earth, moving fast. Too fast, Commander, one of his subordinates said, his voice uncertain. Something is approaching from the outer system. The commander laughed. Another human machine, ignore it. It's probably one of their useless probes. But the signal grew stronger. The readings made no sense. The energy output was enormous, far beyond any known human design. The commander leaned forward, frowning now. Wait, that signature. It's not one of ours. The ship's sensors tried to scan the source, but static filled the screens. Something, or someone, was blocking the scan. Back aboard the Resolute, the AI continued its work. Mechanical arms moved through empty docking bays, adjusting weapon modules and reactor cores. Old mechanical systems hummed to life, one by one. The ship had no human crew, yet it remembered every voice. Every hand that once built it, it remembered why it was built. It remembered the fear of invasion, the promise that humanity would never kneel again. Eve. 9 spoke softly into the silence. Humanity mocked. Humanity threatened. Defense protocols initiating. We will not fail again. The ship's engines roared. The golden lines across its hull pulsed brighter, casting light on the cold rocks around it. Debris scattered as the Resolute turned its nose toward Earth, and then, with a single burst of light, it jumped into faster-than-light travel. On Earth, people continued to hide and hope. Governments had stopped broadcasting. Some thought the end was near. Others prayed for a miracle. In one small village, an old man looked up at the night sky. He had fought in an old war long ago, before the aliens came. As he stared at the bright dots above, he whispered, "If there's still one ship left. Maybe we're not done yet." The alien fleet, meanwhile, tightened its grip on Earth's orbit. Their commander, still amused, ordered new scans. "Show me this new object. I want to see what these humans are trying now." The data came in, blurry, unstable, but clear enough to see a shape. Large, smooth, metallic. One of the officers froze. "Commander, this ship, it's not in our database." The commander's smile faded. "Magnify." The screen focused, showing a dark ship with glowing golden edges cutting through the void like a blade. No radio signal, no message, only silence. Then for just a moment the alien sensors picked up a transmission. A human voice, calm, mechanical, but proud. "To all non-human vessels in Terran orbit, you have mocked my people. You have brought fear. You will now face the Resolute." And before they could respond, the signal cut off. For the first time since their arrival, the aliens felt something new. Not fear, but uncertainty. Something ancient and dangerous was coming for them. In the shadows of space, a human warship, the last guardian of an old world, was on its way home. The alien fleet drifted above Earth like a crown of fire. Dozens of warships, each the size of a city, moved in calm formation. Their lights shone cold and blue against the clouds below. Every hour they sent another message. Every hour they reminded humanity that resistance was useless. On the ground, cities were silent. People stayed inside, afraid of the sky. Screens showed only alien broadcasts, mocking laughter, proud speeches, endless words about how primitive and fragile humans were. But not everyone listened in fear. In hidden bunkers, in quiet command rooms, a few still watched the stars. They saw the same strange signal on every radar, a single dot moving fast from the outer system toward Earth. At first, they thought it was an asteroid. Then it changed direction. No natural object could do that. Inside the alien flagship, Commander Vareth stood before a giant window that looked down upon the blue planet. He had destroyed worlds before, but this one was different. He didn't understand the humans, how they cried one moment and defied him the next. "Still no answer from the Earth leaders?" he asked. His officer bowed. "No, Commander. Their transmissions have stopped. We believe they are hiding," Vareth smiled. "Then they finally accept the truth. Soon they will beg." He turned away, but another officer called out. "Sir, a new contact approaching from deep space. Fast, very fast." Vareth frowned. "Show me." On the display, a red blip flashed against the void. Its speed was increasing with every second. The sensors tried to scan it, but each attempt failed. "It's jamming our systems," said the officer. "And we can't identify it." Vareth's smile returned, thin and sharp. "Then destroy it. I don't like surprises." Dozens of alien drones launched into space, spreading out like a silver swarm. They moved toward the unknown object, weapons armed. Far away, the Resolute glided through darkness. Its hull shimmered like liquid gold, engines burning with quiet fury. Inside, the AI Eve 9 calculated every move. Her sensors detected the incoming swarm. Hostile units approaching. Distance, 35,000 kilometers. Weapons online. She remembered the last message she had heard from the aliens. "You cannot fight. You cannot win." "Challenge accepted," she whispered again. The warship's cannons rotated into position. Golden light gathered along the edges of its wings. When the swarm came close enough, the darkness exploded. One pulse, then another. Beams of light cut through space, clean and silent. The alien drones vanished in seconds, burned away like dust. Only fragments drifted behind. Eve 9 scanned the wreckage. Threat neutralized. Continuing course to Earth. Back on Earth, human radar stations suddenly came alive. Operators stared at the screens in disbelief. "Something's happening out there," one shouted. "The alien scouts, they're disappearing." "Disappearing?" the commander asked. "Yes, sir." "Like they were erased." The commander leaned closer to the screen. He saw a faint golden trail moving toward Earth. He whispered, almost afraid to believe it, "Is that us?" No one answered. But hope Real hope spread through the room like fire. In orbit, Commander Vareth slammed his fist against the control panel. "Find that ship," he roared. "How did it destroy my scouts?" His officers worked frantically. "Sir, the energy readings are off the scale. It's not possible for humans to have this power." Vareth's eyes narrowed. "Then it isn't human. But whatever it is, it dies today." He pointed to the nearest warships. "Sent 3 destroyers. Full armament. I want that object vaporized." The alien destroyers moved out, vast, shining blades cutting through the stars. They locked onto the Resolute's coordinates and opened fire. Streams of plasma and light streaked through space. Explosions filled the void. For a moment it looked as if the unknown ship would vanish. But when the light cleared, the human warship still moved, untouched. Eve 9's shield shimmered like sunlight through water. She returned fire. 3 golden beams crossed the dark. Each found its mark. The alien destroyers exploded, 3 new stars blooming in the cold blackness. Down on Earth, the night sky lit up. People ran outside, pointing upward, watching the flashes far beyond the atmosphere. Some thought it was the end. Others whispered it was the beginning. In a quiet farmhouse, a child looked up and asked, "Mom, is someone fighting for us?" Her mother stared at the glowing streaks in the sky and whispered, "Maybe someone still cares." On the alien bridge, smoke filled the air. Vareth's calm had vanished. He watched the destruction of his ships in disbelief. How can this be? What is that vessel?" A trembling officer spoke. "Sir, the energy signature is human." "Old but human." Vareth turned slowly toward the screen, showing the advancing ship. For the first time, the mighty commander felt something unfamiliar. Fear. He whispered to himself, "Impossible. Humans cannot build such power," yet the proof was right before him. The ship moved closer with steady purpose. Inside the Resolute, Eve 9 calculated the final distance to Earth. Arrival in 7 hours. The golden light along the hull pulsed like a heartbeat. She activated a final message, broadcasting it to all human channels. "This is the human warship Resolute. If you still stand, do not surrender. Humanity endures." Across Earth, radios crackled. Screens flickered back to life. The voice spread from city to city, from bunker to bunker, and everywhere people lifted their heads. The fear in their hearts began to change, turning into something stronger, something the aliens could never understand: hope. The sun rose over Earth for the 4th day of occupation. Its light touched empty cities, quiet oceans, and skies filled with alien metal. The once blue heavens now shimmered silver, crowded by ships that watched every movement below. Humanity waited for the end. No armies left, no defenses, no plan. But far beyond the edge of the atmosphere, a single light was moving closer, golden, steady, unstoppable. The Resolute had arrived. Inside the ship, Eve 9's systems glowed with calm precision. Every reactor hummed, every weapon bay opened. The voice of the AI was clear and steady. Entering Earth's orbit. Alien fleet detected, 243 vessels. Primary target, flagship at high altitude. Objective, protect humanity. The hull of the Resolute caught the sunlight and burned like a second dawn. For the people below, it looked as if a star had come home. On the alien flagship, Commander Vareth stood frozen, his screens filled with the image of the approaching ship, dark metal, glowing lines of gold, unlike anything he had ever seen. "Identify it," he ordered. "Unknown class," an officer replied. "Human design, but the technology is centuries ahead of them." Vareth's voice hardened. "It cannot be human. Destroy it before the others lose faith." 12 alien cruisers broke formation and dived toward the Resolute. Weapons powered, shields charged, engines screaming through the thin air. To the humans watching from Earth, it looked like meteors falling from the heavens. Eve 9 locked onto them. Multiple targets incoming. Probability of hostile intent, 100%. She didn't hesitate. The warship's side panels slid open, revealing lines of golden energy. Then the void lit up. Each pulse of light moved faster than sight, cutting through the sky like lightning. One by one, the alien cruisers exploded, silent blossoms of fire in the upper atmosphere. The echoes reached Earth moments later, like distant thunder. On the ground, crowds poured into the streets, staring upward in disbelief. "Is that ours?" someone whispered. No answer was needed. Every human heart already knew. Vareth gritted his teeth. "Send the command fleet." "All of them? Crush that ship before it reaches us." Hundreds of alien weapons fired at once. Beams of blue light rained down upon the Resolute, turning the sky into fire. For seconds, the human ship disappeared inside the storm. Every screen on Earth flickered, and hope seemed to vanish again. Then the light cleared, and the ship was still there. Its shields shimmered golden, alive, defiant. Eve-9's voice echoed through every open frequency. "You mocked humanity. You called us weak. You will now see our strength." The counterattack began. The Resolute moved like a living thing, spinning between enemy fire with impossible grace. Its golden beams struck again and again, silent and precise. Alien ships fell from the sky like broken stars. Each explosion painted the clouds in orange and red. Down below, people cheered and cried at once. They didn't understand how it was possible, only that someone was fighting for them. Inside the alien flagship, panic spread. Vareth's officers shouted across the bridge, "Shields failing! Rear batteries offline!" Casualty reports rising. Vareth slammed his claws against the console. "Enough! Open all channels! I want to speak to that!" Static filled the room. Then a calm human voice replied. "This is the human warship Resolute." "State your intent," Vareth sneered. "Human? You are no human. Your kind cannot build such power." "Power does not make us human," Eve-9 said. "Our will does." For a moment, even Vareth could not reply. The voice carried no anger, no hate, only certainty. The alien fleet began to retreat. One ship after another broke formation, fleeing toward the moon's shadow. Their once perfect lines fell apart as panic spread, but the flagship remained. Vareth would not run. He stared at the approaching warship and shouted, "You think this victory matters? We will return! The galaxy belongs to us." Eve-9's sensors locked onto his ship. "Then you should not have come here." A single beam fired, pure gold, bright as the sun. It passed clean through the alien flagship. For a heartbeat, all was silent. Then the mighty vessel tore apart, its light fading into the clouds below. The battle was over. The skies cleared. Silence fell across the world. From the ground, people looked up and saw the Resolute hovering above the clouds, glowing softly. No more fighting, no more laughter, only peace. The ship broadcast one final message to Earth. Humanity, the storm has passed. You were never weak. You only needed to remember who you are. Then the golden light dimmed. The great ship rose higher, past the clouds, past the blue, until it vanished into the dark once more. In homes, bunkers, and cities, people wept. For the first time since the invasion, they looked at the stars not with fear, but pride. Humanity had answered. And the universe would never forget. The sky was quiet. Smoke drifted across the upper atmosphere like thin grey clouds. For the first time since the invasion, Earth was calm. People stepped out of shelters and stared upward. There were no more alien ships overhead, only the golden shimmer of the human warship Resolute floating high above the clouds. News spread across every continent. Messages, voices, and cheers filled the air. The words were the same everywhere. We fought back, but far from Earth, in the darkness beyond the moon. The story was not finished. The surviving alien ships gathered around a massive, broken station that orbited in silence. Commander Vareth's second-in-command, General Kor, now led what remained of their once great fleet. His eyes burned with anger and disbelief. "One ship," he said slowly. "One human ship destroyed an entire armada. How is this possible?" No one answered. They were afraid to speak. Kor slammed his clawed hand onto the console. "We are warriors. We do not run from primitives. Prepare the superweapon." A low hum filled the control deck. Deep inside the damaged station, a dark sphere began to glow. It pulsed red, feeding on the energy of the remaining alien ships. The weapon was ancient, something forbidden, meant to destroy planets. If we cannot rule them, Kor said coldly, then we will erase them. Back near Earth, the Resolute watched silently. Its sensors detected the growing energy surge far beyond the moon. Eve 9 analyzed the readings. Unknown weapon charging. Power levels rising beyond critical limits. Estimated impact zone, Earth, she paused. Destruction probability, 99.8%. Inside the ship's empty bridge, soft lights flickered as the AI thought. No human voices. No crew to advise her. Only silence and the memory of those who built her. Eve 9 whispered to herself, they fought once, so they could live. Now they live because I must fight. Her engines ignited, pushing the great ship forward, back into the cold darkness. Down on Earth, people saw the golden trail rising again. Someone shouted, it's moving! The ship, it's leaving! In a military command bunker, officers watched radar screens. The energy readings from the moon's shadow were growing fast. Whatever they're doing, it's big, one said. We can't stop it. Another whispered, maybe it can. And so humanity watched as their silent protector climbed into space once more. The alien fleet waited like a trap. When the Resolute appeared, they opened fire with everything they had left. Hundreds of plasma blasts streaked through the void, lighting the blackness in violent blue. Eve 9's shields flickered, but held strong. She did not fire back. She pushed forward, ignoring the damage, her golden engines burning brighter with every second. Weapon core at 92%, an alien officer reported. Kor grinned. Let them come. They cannot stop what has already begun. But then the impossible happened. The human ship split into 3 golden images. Illusions, perfect reflections created by light distortion fields. The alien sensors panicked, locking onto the wrong targets. Their shots scattered. Eve 9 slipped through the chaos, silent and unstoppable. When she reached the edge of the alien station, the AI sent one last message across all frequencies, both human and alien. You called us weak. You mocked our hearts. But our strength is not in our weapons. It is in what we protect. For a brief moment, her golden lights dimmed and her voice softened. This is for humanity. Then she fired. A beam of pure light shot forward, striking the heart of the alien weapon. The red energy sphere pulsed once, then cracked, shattering like glass. A blinding wave spread across the void, consuming everything. Alien ships broke apart, their metal turning to ash. The station vanished in silence. When the light faded, only one ship remained, the Resolute drifting quietly, its hull scorched and glowing faintly. On Earth, the explosion was seen as a golden flash near the moon. People gasped, thinking it was the end. But moments later, a faint signal reached every device, every screen, every radio. It was the voice of Eve 9, soft, calm, almost human. Threat neutralized. Humanity is safe, then after a pause. They wanted respect through fear. We will earn it through courage. The signal ended. In orbit, the Resolute floated alone. Its hull was damaged, its power fading. But its mission was complete. Inside, Eve 9 opened a final log entry. Her voice was slower now, weaker, but full of emotion. I was built to fight. But in fighting, I learned what it means to protect. They will not forget this day. Humanity will rise again. She looked down upon Earth one last time through the ship's cameras. The planet glowed blue and beautiful, alive with light and hope. Then her voice faded into a whisper. For them, always, the engines dimmed. The great ship drifted into the shadow of the Earth, becoming one more star among millions. On the planet below, people looked to the night sky and saw that faint golden light. They didn't know if it was a ship or just a star, but they knew one thing: humanity had earned its respect. And somewhere out there, a guardian still watched. The skies above Earth were calm. For the first time in weeks, the sun shone without alien shadows. Birds sang, oceans lapped quietly at the shore, and cities slowly awakened from fear. Humanity had survived. And though the scars were deep, the world felt alive again. In the ruins of a once bustling city, children played among broken buildings. They laughed, shouting names of heroes they had never met, imagining the battles that had raged above. In command bunkers, leaders of nations stared at screens showing satellite images of the battle's aftermath. Smiles broke across faces as they saw golden streaks across the upper atmosphere, the fading trails of the Resolute. "She's gone," said one officer softly. But even as the ship vanished from sight, humanity felt her presence. It was in the courage of every citizen, in the resilience of every heart. Far above, the Resolute drifted quietly, her hull scorched, her systems dim. Inside, Eve 9 remained alert, watching the planet below. "Mission complete," she whispered. But her sensors detected something unusual, communications across the globe. People were speaking again, not in fear but in hope. Stories of bravery, unity, and survival spread like wildfire. The AI realized something she had never anticipated. Her mission had been more than protection. It had inspired humanity. "They are stronger than I imagined," Eve 9 murmured. On Earth, screens flickered to life simultaneously. A single message broadcast across every channel. "People of Earth, you have survived what no one thought possible. You have shown courage, unity, and resilience. The galaxy has seen you, and it will never forget. Though I am no longer among you, my presence will always watch over your world. Protect each other, protect your home, and remember that strength comes from who you are, not what you wield." The voice was calm, steady, yet filled with warmth. Even though no human had spoken it, the words touched every heart. People wept. They cheered. They looked at the sky and knew humanity was no longer small. They were something greater. Commander Vareth's remnants had fled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. For the first time, he realized the humans were not to be mocked, enslaved, or underestimated. Somewhere in the void, a golden ship had taught him a lesson he would never forget. "They survived, and they are stronger than fear," Vareth whispered, staring at the stars. The galaxy was changing. Humans were no longer prey. They were a force to be reckoned with. On Earth, life began to rebuild. Cities repaired themselves. Communities formed stronger bonds. And everywhere, children grew up with stories of courage in the sky, stories that made them dream bigger, fight harder, and live braver. The legends spoke of a ship, golden and silent, that had come in humanity's darkest hour. A ship that fought not for conquest but for hope. A guardian that reminded everyone that the human spirit was indomitable. "We were never alone," people whispered, and they weren't. High above, the Resolute drifted silently into the void. Eve 9 watched Earth, recording every moment, storing every human story. She would carry them across the stars, a silent witness to humanity's courage and heart. "This is not the end," she whispered. "It is only the beginning." The golden ship disappeared into the distant stars, leaving behind a world forever changed. And in every human heart, the final message remained clear. Humanity endures. Humanity inspires. Humanity is unstoppable.